Hi, I've recently been catching up on some recent cinema releases, and I've been enjoying See How They Run, a new release, a classic murder mystery adventure with an all-star cast based around the staging of The Mousetrap. Mousetrap, of course, if you're aware of it, is the longest-running theatrical production in history. It's been running since the early 50s in London's West End. And the film is related to the idea that the film rights were sold by Agatha Christie, its author, relatively early in the play's run after it had only been running for a few months, but on the proviso that the film would not be produced until after the play's initial run had finished. Well, 70 years later, that that run is still ongoing. So when a death occurs among the people preparing to set up a film version, various characters come under suspicion, both from the film business, from the stage production, and the personal life of the victim. In comes Inspector Stoppard of Scotland Yard, played by Sam Rockwell, and his assistant, WPC Stalker, played by Saoirse Ronan, who investigate the crime. Stoppard is a glum, soft-spoken, dour, downbeat figure about whose background we find out very little, but there are suggestions made along the way which I engaged with. While Stalker is very much our viewpoint character, a great lover of film and theatre, very enthusiastic, almost hyperactive in her enthusiasm for the job. And the two make a very entertaining double act. Stoppard sloping off to go to the pub, Stalker accusing everyone of murder and attempting to arrest anyone whenever they say anything that even might be remotely incriminating. The film is an interesting dilemma because part of the film's plot, part of the key of the film's concept, is that the mousetrap was based on real events. Now, I looked into this because it seemed to be a bit strange, and it turns out that the mousetrap is inspired very loosely by real events. The actual country house murders, I don't think, are real, but the background to it, I think, are very specific inspiration, and it's that inspiration that forms the key background to the film, and that makes me uneasy. The idea of exploiting a real life tragedy for a piece of popular entertainment in such a way that is not trying to illuminate this tragedy to the wider audience, but simply extract entertainment from it, does seem somewhat off colour. But the film's logic, I expect, is that, well, Agatha Christie did it and no one complained, so why bother now? But that was 70 years ago, and things have changed a little bit in the intervening decades. Um, the performances are very fine. As I say, Rockwell and Ronan make an excellent double act. Ronan is, I think, one of her best performances so far. Very funny, but very warm and humane. Stoppard is an interesting character. As I say, we find out very little about him, but we see these background sketches that he drinks very heavily and is on the verge of alcoholism. He seems to live alone and spends his spare time making jigsaws and has boxes of them stored away. Um, we never find out why this is, and it's just a bit of interesting character detail. And the same with um, Stalker's family background. There are some other oddities, like the character of Richard Attenborough is a major figure in the film, but he's played by someone who's about 2 feet taller than Attenborough was in real life. In the same way, casting a Scots actress as Agatha Christie seems a bit strange, particularly since she also looks far too young. Um, it's flawed, but I did enjoy it. It moves at a clip. It's very funny. The resolution to the mystery I thought was interesting and cleverly arranged. Um, it's just that there are certain elements that didn't chime with me correctly, certain things that I thought, well, that doesn't need to have been changed. That doesn't make any sense within the story. And the overall sense that it was exploiting, even in the most removed terms, a real life tragedy. Um, felt it sat awkwardly with me. So it's a recommendation, but definitely a qualified one.